missed you.
Back.
And
Our holiday respite over. Get back at it.
All right, you just talked to Steichen. Let's just get right into this because this is Colts, and more Colts, man. Yep. What did you think today? What's going on?
You know what? All year long, they've been really consistent. They've been like flatlined. We've got to prepare. We've got to do that. And there's been the same energy in the building every single week. It's been relentless. But this week, little bit of a tick up.
Really?
A little bit of urgency. We talked to Steichen, talked to Minshew, talked to Jonathan Taylor, and with all of them, like there's more energy from those guys. It's really interesting.
Are you planning to go to the playoffs?
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, damn.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to throw this by you, and Bill Walton did. I saved it for the air. I said on my show this morning that you can make the case. I know there's other guys, and maybe I would just make John Harbaugh the coach of the year because they're having a fantastic year. All right. But I'm saying Steichen, you got to think about it. And let me give you my thought real quick. Mm-hmm. He takes over a mess.
Yeah.
And look, the Jeff Saturday thing was a mess. And the team quit, or whatever you want to say, doesn't even matter. And now they lose their quarterback, the guy that they're hanging their hat on, who didn't even make it, even when he was here, he didn't make it through any games. He couldn't get through a freaking game.
Right.
And they're sitting here with a chance to go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's others, but damn, you got to talk about him for Coach of the Year.
I think so. I think that this game isn't just for maybe the AFC South, certainly a playoff spot, but I think it's for the Coach of the Year.
Okay.
I think whoever is the coach of the winning team Saturday night wins that. Steichen's been terrific. And really, I was thinking about it. Really, it's a hard position. Not only is he taking over a dumpster fire, but he's a first-time guy. You don't know. There's no track record with this guy being a head coach at any level.
No.
And Irsay and Ballard said, okay, this is our guy. And I don't know whether it's, a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while or what, but this guy has been really, really good.
I go back to what you said going way back. Seems like a serious guy.
Yeah.
An organized guy. And you know what? He showed it. I'll go back to what you said. You said practices were run more efficiently, practices were run better. And this is even before it started coming out that, he's making guys be on time and holding guys accountable. The accountability thing, to me, I don't give a damn if on Christmas night or whatever, Shaq Leonard had 7 tackles. Shaq Leonard can't play.
Right.
And you don't hold and keep guys around that cannot play under Steichen. And I feel like you did even with when Pagano would fight Grigson over it. And I certainly thought you did with Reich. And it shows me that Steichen has control of the thing, and that's what you want.
Suspended Isaiah McKenzie.
What happened
Tony
with that?
Brown.
Anybody?
Nobody knows.
Nobody.
Nobody knows.
So McKenzie.
And he won't tell. That's the thing that I like about Steichen too, is he's not leaking shit through.
And nobody else is.
Schefter and
Nobody else is
buttoned up tight. Yep.
This was always bullshit around here with the leaks through Schefter.
Yep.
Always crap. And they're not. And that's why I am all on board with this. I'm totally on board with it because they're not doing that bullshit of, Adam Schefter and we're trying to cover our own ass. But I will say this. Right. Did you see Isaiah McKenzie, what he did?
No.
He said the rumor that I killed a bald eagle is false.
Yeah.
Had you heard that rumor?
I had heard the rumor, but I thought it's a federal crime. It's not a violation of team policy.
Right.
Conduct detrimental to the team is killing a bird.
No.
Even a beautiful bird, a majestic
That's going
bird
to jail,
like a bald eagle. Yeah, you can't do that. That's a federal crime. That's law enforcement, the DNR people. Can't even kill a hawk, a menacing hawk. Come on.
Who had his own Twitter handle, by the way. But no, I saw that. I go, wow.
Yeah.
All these, what I like about you is you don't call you an insider. You're just a smart guy. All these aren't insiders like at the Star or Holder? Aren't they supposed to have the inside scoop? Nobody's got no scoop unless
there's no scoop to go get.
I love that.
Yeah, they don't talk, and they're really good about that.
That is so different. Am I right about this? That's so un-Colts-like over the last 5 years.
Ballard's never been a big talker, but things have leaked out, and I don't believe that there have been any consequences. You get the feeling right now that if things leak out, Steichen's going to want answers, and it's going to be somebody's ass.
I agree.
That culture has turned into one of accountability. It was, go along to get along with Reich. Now You step out of line, whack.
And that's the way it should be
Yeah,
in leadership.
absolutely.
That's leadership. Leadership isn't just talking. That's leadership.
And you know this, that leadership and accountability, it's not just the growth of the person who's held accountable, it's the rest of the locker room who are held accountable, behave correctly. And if you allow like knuckleheads to have their way, then these guys are like, well, why am I busting my ass doing the right thing? You got a real problem with compliance at that point.
That's why I've never, and I know I'm wrong about this, but I don't know where. Somebody could tell me. I've never bought into the diva wide receiver. I've always thought that the diva wide receiver, I don't know that they've ever won. I don't. Has a diva wide receiver, I know Moss went to New England and lost, or maybe they won one and lost when they were undefeated when they lost.
But he became a non-diva.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, A.J. Brown, they didn't win. I don't know if he's a diva or not, but he was the other day. But all these guys, Chad Ochocinco, Terrell Owens, they don't win. And it's exactly your point, because it cuts at the core of the guys that are all in to the team.
Yep.
And that's why I wonder what's going on with the Eagles. And I wonder what's going on with the Chiefs, because you got two guys there, and I know they're great guys, the Kelseys. Man, are they getting a lot of interest. Man, they're everywhere. They're not just having commercials.
Yeah.
They're freaking everywhere.
They're brands.
Yes, big time.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I'm betting some of those guys are like, wait a second here, this is bullshit here.
I'll tell you, I think, and I'm just supposing, Matt Patricia, being the guy who's calling the defense, I don't like it. I think that he sucks, just like they're saying about Josh McDaniels when he was with the Raiders, sucked the life out of the room. All the joy went from the building. I don't think there's the same joy with the Eagles now with Patricia kind of in a place of importance. I think Nick Sirianni made a mistake and put the wrong cat in charge of that end of the game.
Interesting. All right, I got to go. Speaking of defensive coordinators, I read our thumbnail. We're not happy with Gus Bradley. Or are we happy with Gus Bradley?
Well, there are
Hang
people,
on.
look, you know, if you want to start a dust storm and get a lot of comments, you talk about Gus Bradley. He is a very polarizing guy. People even thrilled with 9-7. We got a shot at the playoffs. We got a backup quarterback. Jonathan Taylor didn't play for a long time. Gus Bradley's got to be fired. You get that?
What's our problem with Gus? Sitting back?
Bend don't break.
Yeah,
It's that.
back, yeah.
And it's not a matter, like people say, we got to blitz more. It's not the aggression of the blitz that's needed. What's needed is the aggression in coverage. If you just sit back and you let a guy like C.J. Stroud play catch,
you're done. You better score 30.
Almost beat us.
Yes. You better score 30.
Yep.
Yeah, Aiden O'Connell looked pretty good, but we've seen that forever. So I do like what's going on at times with the pass rush.
Yep.
I think that the human hurricane, or whatever they call him, Dio, he looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, I like him.
Buckner's Buckner.
Taekwon Lewis is playing his ass off.
He's playing his, and I'm happy for him because he's overcome so much just.
And a great dude.
Yeah.
Great dude to talk to. One of my, I used to love to talk to Frank Gore because he just exuded love of football. He was awesome to talk to, whether you were recording something or not. I never go up to guys' lockers and just hey, how you like that guy. But with Frank Gore, I would, because he made me feel good. He enjoyed his work so much, he made me want to enjoy my work more.
Interesting.
And Taekwon is a little bit like that. I like stopping by saying hello with Taekwon.
Hi, Taekwon. How's your day?
Yeah. Oh, good. They don't know what to do when people are friendly. Come up with a microphone, they know what's expected.
Yeah.
You come up and
the shield goes up. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but I'm not mad. I get it. I feel like this though. I feel like in my entire life since 08, being around the Colts, I feel like whether it's Monachino, Larry, the other guy that just died, Larry Coyer, this guy, even going back to Dungy, I feel like it's almost the Colts' MO. To be Tampa 2. Eberflus. I mean, I don't know.
I totally forgot about Ted Monachino. That's a great
You know why I pulled that one? He just got hired by somebody in college as a special advisor or something like that. I'm like, I remember Monachino. I remember that guy. But it seems like that's all the Colts have always been.
Yeah. They've never been that aggressor.
No.
And I don't think you can win without being aggressive. If you're not aggressive defensively, I think you're wasting your time. And to watch them, even in a winning effort against the Raiders, just sit back and allow O'Connell to work the middle of the field. Devontae Adams, I don't know that he's ever had a day like that. No. And he's had a lot of days. I mean, 13.
He's usually bitching. With the Raiders.
Right,
with the Raiders.
Right.
No, he wasn't bitching when he was with Rodgers, but he's usually the guy like, hey, I'll get the fuck out of here.
13 catches for 2 touchdowns. That, to me, that's like a 3-point shooter. Once they hit their fourth, you got to throw them into the stands or something. Yeah.
I'll never understand football. I got an argument with Urban Meyer over this. I'm like, I don't understand you guys. You rush 4, you got 7 back. You rush 5, you got 6 back. You got basically 3 guys going out for a pass. You can't guard 3 with 6. Like you can't. I mean, I probably talked about it on this show a million times. But it's not only that you can't guard 3 with 6. It's that they always leave the best guy wide open.
Yeah.
Like how does that? I mean, okay,
And there's no one near him.
No.
Like he catches the ball
in the middle
completely.
of the field.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Ken, it's like, all right, well, Steve Alford or whoever's a great, Steph Curry is making shots. Well, you just keep guarding him. Right. No, guard him with every freaking buddy. Look at John C. Van Dyke, $10. Thank you. All right, there you go.
No, he had a good day. He had a good day against us. No.
No.
He had a good first half. And then the second half, you do something different.
Hey, second half, he had to make great plays.
Yeah.
Like, he made 2 great catches over the top of double coverage. And, hey, look, I tell you where you saw that a little last night. I don't know how much you watched, but you saw it a little last night. 5 sacks in the first half, Milroe for Alabama. Saban wasn't having that shit in the second half, right? Saban was like, hey, nuh-uh. Now, he didn't get to win, but you saw an adjustment from a coach there.
Was that not, like, I watched that game, and at the end, I thought, if I'm Alabama, I got to think about doing something different. Because the way he's always won is by taking care of the details, and there were a lot of details not taken care of last night. They can't make a center quarterback exchange. That's not Nick Saban. But I think it is, what is he, 72?
Yeah.
I think at some point you're like, what am I doing? I got all the money in the world. I want to win, but am I driven enough to do the things necessary to win at that level? Maybe not anymore.
Really? He just got to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Bob Knight coached for like 30 years. Greatest coach ever. He got the 5 Final Fours. Saban, I'll give you a number. 3 years.
Yeah.
He's gone 3 years without winning a championship. It's the longest in his tenure at Alabama.
Gotta go. If he can't beat Harbaugh.
One of my life sayings is be careful what you wish for, people.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's strong. But
hire Tom Allen.
Well, Penn State did. I saw Paulie Ball said, Larry, we're sending you Texas. How's this possible? They got Mr. Happy. Hey, kid. Woo! Jeez, there he goes. We got to have you do that once a show. Because I'll fall. If I trip like that, I'm a header into the stairs over here.
That could have been all kinds of bad for all of us.
Hey, Kent, Indiana's got Kalen DeBoer, who all you got to do is look at and know that dude's a stud coach.
Yeah, right.
Did you know him?
No.
I didn't know him. And Michael Penix on campus.
Yeah.
I don't blame either of them. You got to do what you got to do. And Indiana signed Tom Allen. It reminded me of when the Colts had Pagano sick and Bruce Arians took the team over, and everybody in the building knew Bruce Arians is the guy.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
You can't fire the cancer guy.
No.
Tom Allen didn't have cancer.
But.
Ta-ta-ta-tell. There is no chance. Have you ever met Tom Allen?
Talked to him on the phone and talked to him.
No chance that if you met him, it would take you 3 seconds. It took me about 12 seconds to know that he's a fraud. Not a fraud.
No.
But not, he's not trying to portray himself as something he's not.
No.
He's just ill-equipped for that position. Like, there's no way you meet him and say, that's a leader I'm going to run through a wall for.
I said that earlier today. I never met Kalen DeBoer. I've seen him speak one time, and it was after the game yesterday. And all I did was look at him on the sideline. I texted Urban. I said, "This dude's real, huh?" He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "This dude is real. He's real. He's no joke." And he's old. You know, you think about the world of football. He runs the clock down.
Yeah.
Even though he's got a big time offense, the shit that they do, the misdirection. If it works, they stay with it. It ain't that freaking hard.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times did they throw Ike? Little pass right there to a guy on the left side, and then he ran for 8 yards or whatever.
Yep.
Honest to God, I'm watching this guy thinking, no wonder he wins.
Yep.
Jesus.
It's not complicated.
Not when you got, well, I'll tell you this, Michael Penix.
Penix he's pretty good.
I always thought, because, tell me what you think, when he was in Indiana, it wasn't fair to him. He was so skinny.
Yeah.
And he likes to run, and we saw it. He was so skinny that it was almost like he's going to break in half skinny.
And he was a guy, when you talked to him, you thought, ooh, this guy's got to grow up.
Really?
This was like his first 2 years. You're like, this guy's got a ways to go. He doesn't know who he is. But he's figured it out.
Oh.
And it's really, there are guys, Trace Jackson Davis was another one. They need, and Michael's been in college for 6 years.
Yeah.
But it takes a while. You're not going to get a freshman who's a grown-ass man all the time. They season over time, and I think Michael Penix really has.
I do too. I was listening to him talk, and I thought, man, this dude, I would follow this dude as a college kid. He's kind of, and he should be. I always say Randy Whitman, I use him as an example. When I got to Indiana, he was kind of above us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was, and so I always felt like that's who you want to be around, and that's what I see just in hearing him talk, Michael Penix. It's just too bad. It's too bad that that being the starting quarterback at a Big Ten school didn't mean anything in this day and age. Not Penix's fault, not at all.
Right.
But usually, if you're going to be in our day, or even going back to early this century, if you were starting at a Big Ten school, that's what you wanted. You stayed at that Big Ten school. You set some records. Guys from Indiana went to the NFL draft, all that kind of stuff. But it's just, there's no way you're keeping him from Washington with all the money Washington throw at you.
Right. But you do have to know why he left. Was it money? Was it opportunity? Was it DeBoer? What was it? I would need to, if I were Scott Dolson, and this were 2 years ago, I want answers about why we just lost our best employee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To put it in like business terms, you lose a salesperson who prints money for you. You want to know why he's jumping across the street.
Yeah.
I would want to know that from Tom Allen.
Well, he left right at the start of all the transferring. Right now, it's just out of hand. Now it's ridiculous, right? But he left kind of right at the beginning of it all, right?
Was it like Peyton Ramsey's our guy? You know what I mean? Like, was it Tom Allen choosing Peyton Ramsey over Michael Penix? I may be getting the timeline a little bit screwy, but is that the kind of thing that was going on? Hey, Michael, want to let you know you're not our guy for next year. We're rolling with this guy. Were they that, just obtuse about talent or what? I don't know.
I don't either, but damn. You look at those two guys and you're like, man, that could have made a difference in Indiana.
A little bit. Yeah, just a little.
I mean, I don't know. Just
it's been since 1991. Trent Green was the quarterback for the Hoosiers the last time they won a bowl.
Yeah.
Trent Green, he's 53.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I would argue Trent Green's America's most handsome IU athlete. I would argue that overall
present company excluded.
Why? Who we like?
Well, you.
Oh God, no.
You're an
no,
Adonis.
I saw a picture of me the other day. I didn't like anything I saw there. No.
It's like Jerry talking to Uncle Leo.
Yeah.
You're an Adonis.
Yeah. Oh, you're hideous. Women love you.
You should cling to them like grim death.
Yes, like grim death. All right, so does Indiana win? I mean, I'm sorry, does the Colts win?
I got a bad feeling about this game,
Uh-oh.
I'll tell you the truth. I want them to win. I hope that they win. I think they're going to figure out a way to make it competitive throughout. Steichen's just that good. But you know what? That defense is serious. You've got to stop Collins. If you think that Devontae Adams was a big pain in the ass with the Raiders to your secondary, Collins.
Nico Collins?
Oh, yeah.
I know, but
70 catches, like 1,100 plus yards. He gets into the end zone. The running game, I'm not worried about. Singletary isn't that good, but
I want to see. Here's what why am I going Titans? I don't care about the Titans. I want to see because I didn't look this up. This is bad me. But what did Stroud do this week? I know they beat the Titans. I know they beat the hell out of the Titans. I get all that. But did he play? Is he back to where he's as dangerous as he was earlier? That's my question.
Well, here's the thing with him that's really important is that the last interception he threw was November 19th.
No, he doesn't give it. He don't give it away.
He does not. He's thrown 5 total. 3 were in one game. And they do not turn it over. They've turned it over 14 times. Not a heavily penalized team. They will not lose that game unless you do something to confuse them. And Gus Bradley is loath to do that. So I think that and this to me is a real referendum for Gus. Like, they better win this game. If they don't win this game, Gus Bradley's out of
Well,
here.
if they win, lose 10-7.
Yeah, that'd be odd.
I know.
But
Is this a referendum on the whole season?
No, I don't think so. I think
Lose at
people
home
will-
again to go to the playoffs?
People will still be happy with Steichen. They will not. Bradley's going to own this one. People are going to point at Bradley. People in the building and fans are going to point at Bradley and say it's you.
Well, that's a good place to be as the head coach.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not
You
saying
got an underling that's going to take your heat?
Jeez, I mean, let's go.
Yeah.
I don't know that it is, or I don't know that it isn't a failure of a season if they lose this game. And I'm going to tell you why. This would be the 3rd game. And I go back to Cincinnati, and then who'd they get beat last week? The debacle. Atlanta. They got killed. And now here we go again. You're in a position that you weren't last year. 2 years ago you were, to get into playoffs at home. I mean, I know that I know you're playing against a team that is really improved, much like the Colts, really good young coach, but you're at home. You're not playing the Patriots of Tom Brady. You're playing a rookie quarterback to go to the playoffs. You got to win this freaking game. I don't care don't tell me it's a rebuild, because you don't know what's happening next year.
No, you don't.
You don't.
The future is now.
Now.
Don't tell me about 2024.
No.
I don't want to hear.
When we have who back? I mean, no.
Right.
No. And John M. says, yes, it's a failure because the Colts missed the playoffs and did not end up with a top 5 selection.
Oh, my head hurts.
Oh, my head hurts. Kent. You know who's got it figured out too? Chicago Bears. I'll tell you why. Usually you are shitty.
Yeah.
You win a game at the end of the year, your fan base is like, oh crap, that takes us out of contention for the first pick in the draft. The Bears win and do it in somewhat deciding fashion last week.
Yeah.
But Carolina loses, so the Bears have figured out, even if we win, we got the number 1 pick automatic because Carolina's so bad it was a good trade.
And then what are they going to do with the number 1 pick?
I don't know.
They're going to completely screw it up and make the wrong decision. No matter what decision they make, it's going to be the wrong one because it's the Bears, and that's what they do.
But that goes to the point of this guy. Like, look, hey, you didn't make the playoffs and you didn't get a top 5 pick.
Look, the Colts got a top 5 pick last year, and all we've done is watch him carry a clipboard and walk around in a sling.
Yeah.
So, what good's that do you?
I don't know. I'm so not on board with the crap. I didn't see Sean's question, if you want to put it back, Sean. But I'm so not on board. Yeah, there it is. One more down. Would you draft another quarterback in the next draft with Richardson being injury prone? I would have to love that guy. I'm just saying, I would have to think we got Russell Wilson in the 3rd round kind of guy.
That's what the Bears would do.
That is.
Don't do what the Bears do.
Do the opposite.
Sometimes success is determined by doing the opposite of idiots. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. You just have to understand the stupid guy and not do what he does.
Costanza.
That's it.
It's
Exactly.
opposite day. I'll have the chicken. I will not have the tuna. That's right. No, that's right.
Yeah.
You got to know who the idiot is and then do the opposite.
Bears.
That's what a friend of
The
mine,
gold standard among idiots in the NFL.
my buddy, the sack attack in gambling, tells me, Dan, you should fade every thought you have. You should just go the opposite of every gambling thought you have. Like, this draft is going to be interesting because, I don't know, I mean, Caleb Williams is crying with his mom and wanting kittens, and
That's
Michael
not
Penix
good.
is out there bawling his ass off.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'll say this about the Colts. If I'm the Colts, and I could get that wide receiver, Azune from Washington, I want that
Yep.
guy. I want that. And I'll give Alec Pierce credit, man, when all he does is catch long touchdowns. Literally
Yeah.
all he does. I mean, he catches
What's
three.
all he can do? You know, and not to go insider, but I was watching him at practice last week because I was watching Pittman. And Reggie Wayne's got them working around like pylons. Alec Pierce can't cut quickly.
Really?
He reminded me, this is very sad. It's sad in multiple directions. Reminded me of Stephanie White McCarty playing basketball. She played at one speed. She like ran, cut, everything was there was no change of speed ever.
Now, wasn't she a great player?
Not when she was with the Fever. She can't get open.
Oh.
Like the defense would be able to explode and catch her after she made her cut easily.
Oh.
So it's like same speed. Alec Pierce chops his feet and goes that way initially so slowly that it's
So there's a
hard to
difference
catch this
between
guy.
him and Pittman. You can see it in that drill. And Pittman's not the quickest.
Pittman's smooth.
How about
through his cut.
Downs?
Wow. You
feel
know,
like
I
Downs
didn't
is
pay
quick.
any attention
Yeah.
to him.
I feel like he's quick.
But Pittman, through his cut, he explodes out of his cut. He would be a bitch to be able to stop. He'd be a pain in the ass to cover. Whereas Pierce, of course you have him running straight line because he can't cut. He can't create
Interesting.
separation.
See, that's the insider shit that we love. We love. That is. That's the stuff I like. That's the stuff that I get excited about hearing you talk about.
I thought you were being sarcastic.
No.
Because
No.
we don't care for insiders.
I like that stuff. I don't care about the insider. I do want to know why the guys got suspended, though. That's the most.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if somebody said, well, gambling. No, if it was gambling, they would talk about it. They would make an example.
And that would be an NFL suspension.
Right. Whatever. Well, I don't know.
We do know that Tony Brown got busted for pot and for some other controlled substance, and that was like July 6th. A guy on social media sent me the police report. And so that couldn't be it, but maybe you give a guy one bite at that apple and then the next bite.
But doesn't
they're
that come
gone.
out as a drug policy thing?
If they fail a test. But if the team catches a guy, that's different. Like when
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
I was on the road with the Rams with their radio network in 12. Janoris Jenkins and Isaiah Peed got caught getting stoned in their room with another guy, a third guy who was down the roster. That guy got fired immediately. I don't even think he came back on the team playing. The other guy's got a one-game suspension.
Janoris Jenkins was pot.
Yeah.
He was. He was controlled substances. What about our Hoosiers? Where are we at? And our Boilers?
I can't. I don't know what to expect from Indiana because I have no idea what I've seen. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I don't know whether you can can you expect something out of him? Like some games he plays well, some games he's not effective at all. Some games he sits. Renew going 4 for 4 from beyond the arc. Went from a guy who looked like he was really uncomfortable shooting to like catching it. Woof,
Yeah, that's
smooth.
a difference, man.
It was weird.
That's a big
You
score.
ever see a guy do that? Go from being like
No.
jittery shooter to being like,
Well, I have, but not big guys.
yeah.
Not big guys. And he's always played. I feel like he's played like a big guy. I feel like he's, like a Wayman Tisdale around the basket. Wayman
He's
Tisdale.
comfortable down on the block with a little left-handed hook.
And to see him go out and shoot, it's like, okay, now that is a sign of what I've been bitching about, player development. There's some player development there. There's some guy that, now, I'm guessing Kent, law of averages, say he's got about an 0 for 20 coming You know what I mean? I mean, there are some guys. I wonder if he's this guy. There was a kid, Greg Stempen, ended up playing in the NBA. He played at Toledo. He was a really good player. And I remember telling my team, all right, let him shoot. Let him shoot a three early. Just he's gonna think we're backing off, and we are. And hope he makes it. He's a big, strong kid, athletic as hell, tough. Made it. You know what he did? He must have shot 8 threes in the game where he could have fouled our whole team off. You know what I mean? And we ended up beating them. And it's like, Coach, how'd you know that? I go, well, we scout. I mean, they're paying me money to figure this shit out. Right? It's like, I'm not. Right? Like,
you're a wizard, Coach.
Yeah, you're really smart. I go, well, I chew tobacco and watch film. What do you want me to do? I can figure one shit out. But I hope he doesn't become that.
Yeah.
Is that right? You know what I mean? I hope he becomes, you got to stay with what you do well.
Right.
In maybe not against Kennesaw or whatever, but you do when you're going to go on the road and play Purdue. You do when even Nebraska.
Yeah.
Nebraska will beat you if you don't show.
Are they any good? I don't know anything about them.
They got that little Asian kid who's tough, and they got some athletes in the front court, and I watched them a few times, and I thought, all right, this is probably, I hate to say it's his best team because the teams haven't been very good.
Right.
Hoiberg, and he's had some athletes, but I would say it'll be a tough game. You know, I mean, Indiana's going to have to play well, or somebody's going to have to.
And it's at their place.
And the place is the best fans in America. I mean, they don't give a shit, man.
It's all they got.
You been there?
No, never.
It may be the best setup for college basketball, other than Rupp Arena, having the hotel. We stay at the hotel.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
That's like, valet park it, just go down and we stayed there, and Lee's like, wow, this is unbelievable. And then we had a great time. But Nebraska.
Lexington, you can have fun in Lexington.
You can have fun in that bar after the game.
Yeah.
People are great. But there they have the Haymarket, I think it's the Haymarket District. Great restaurants, literally in a plaza right across. It would be like, not even as far as where the Convenient Mart is to Assembly Hall.
Oh, really?
Oh, I mean, because the parking lot wouldn't be that big. It's the best, and the fans are nuts. It'll be a tough game for Indiana. They're way more talented, but somebody's going to have to play well on the road, and we'll see.
What are you going to watch? Are you going to watch IU Ohio State 8 o'clock Saturday night? I think it's 8 o'clock, or Colts and Texans?
Can I tell you what I'm doing?
You're not doing either. I'll bet you.
No.
What are you doing?
And I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that much is clear.
Southern Illinois plays at Illinois State.
Okay.
And Andrews at 8 o'clock. And we usually, because Holtman, I go to one IU game a year, and it's usually the Ohio State game. Holtman gets his tickets, Chris does behind the bench, and Indiana fans yell at me that I'm a traitor and all that bullshit, fine. But we were hoping that one was going to be in the afternoon, and one would be at night. So I'm taping both so I can talk about it on our show. What are you watching?
I'm going to watch the Colts.
Yeah, me too. I would.
So I'll go and watch. And I like doing that. I like a lot of people bitch and moan about where the press box is because it's way the hell up.
Yeah.
But you can see, you don't even have to, it's hard to concentrate even on one position group. Like you see the whole field. You see all 22. And you can see what they're doing with safeties and where they're putting different guys, and that's fun for me.
I will tell you, all right, let me ask you fans this question, I'll ask you. I don't know where you've sat in Assembly Hall. I've never sat in a game at Assembly Hall. But very good friends of ours are Kansas grads.
Yeah.
And they bought tickets, and they sat underneath, on the main level or whatever, underneath the balcony. Like about 4 rows from the top. And they're like, this is a horseshit seat.
Yeah.
This is the worst. And I tried to tell them, I go, look, first 2 rows in the balcony are awesome.
Yeah.
Like my brother would be like, hey, can you get me tickets in the first 2 rows? Because same thing as you're talking about. You get to see everything develop, and you can see actually all 4 corners of the court. Assembly Hall's got terrible seats.
Right.
The worst. I love it, but gritty. Sold their IU basketball tickets to be able to watch the Colts. There you go.
Where did they shoot practice from?
We used to shoot it there actually above the balcony.
Okay.
There's a media, like a control center up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That made it like watching the practice film. You could see everything.
Watching the practice film or the game film from that angle, and then watching the TV copy. I swear to you, it was 2 different games.
Yeah.
It did not even look like the same game.
Well, back in the day, you had the really low angle at Assembly Hall.
Remember that?
Which did make it really tough.
Yes, and it was funnish to watch on TV. But how about this? I'll give you one. Purdue is on Peacock.
Yeah.
Son of a, like Maryland, I think it's tonight. Maryland Purdue is tonight on Peacock.
Yeah.
Honest to God. Like, I
Thank you, baseball 22.
yeah. Yeah, thanks. I don't know. I guess I'll go get Peacock. I mean, I have Peacock.
You can get it for like $2.99 a month for the first 6 months, whatever. I've got my nephew's login and all that, so I'm getting it for free. I don't know whether is that a federal crime?
Yes.
I can't be suspended for conduct detrimental to this show.
No,
because
you run the show.
I'm
your
pirating
show.
Peacock. Right?
No, I wouldn't recommend it. Certainly not talking about it. But hey, we're an open books here.
That's what we do.
There is a weekly game on Peacock, and
Indiana plays several.
They do. Yeah. I think Indiana Purdue is shit. It may
Although we're all done with the Big Ten Plus nonsense. That I won't do it.
No,
it's $20 a month.
I just renewed it. I didn't even know for $54. It said I'm done. In fact, I'm glad that I was reminded because I'm getting that done today.
Here's a tip. There's a tip for you. Tip for all of you. When you sign up, when you subscribe to anything like that, immediately unsubscribe at the end of that term.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you need to renew, go ahead and renew. That's fine. But don't let the auto renewal hit you for $54.
Yeah, that's ending today. That is absolutely ending. On the show, Sean asked this question, and it's an interesting question. I think Joe Flacco is the greatest story in the NFL.
It's awesome.
And he has resuscitated that franchise.
Yeah.
Like he's put his mouth on a dead franchise and blow it and revived. Do you, I'm going with Steichen as coach of the year, but Kevin Stefanski, to Sean's point, man, you think about taking a 38 or 39-year-old, putting him in there.
Off the couch.
And I know where else. Look, DeMar Hamlin, I get it, okay? It's great. The fact that he's walking is a miracle. But he ain't, in terms of football, comeback player of the year, I don't know.
How much money is he costing potential quarterbacks elsewhere?
I'm saying Joe Flacco's comeback player of the year.
Oh, absolutely.
And why would I pay somebody $300 million, right?
Deshaun Watson, $230 or whatever it was, for what? Like this guy off his couch is like money for 380 yards a week.
Now he throws some picks. He'll throw the ball to the other team.
Does.
I know, and that makes it actually more fun.
Yeah.
But he is, I said this earlier, even when I lived in Bowling Green, Ohio, and we didn't have, I don't even know if there was the Sunday ticket and all that. We got the Lions as our NFC team and the Browns as our AFC team.
Yeah.
That was our Sunday, right? I didn't care ever about watching the Browns. I didn't care when Ernest Biter and Brian Sipe or whoever these guys are. But now it's like, hey, I want to see what Flacco did this week.
Isn't it fun to watch a guy who had it, but kind of built his career, and then realized that he wasn't really having a great time doing it because he was all kind of in his head trying to build his career, worrying about where tomorrow was going to come from. All of a sudden, he's just playing and having fun, going out and balling, and it just comes easy to him. I think it's awesome.
And I'm with you, Sean. Stefanski probably will be coach of the year. I don't know. But that thing, I felt like when I was watching, was that guy's name? DTR, Dorian, Thompson, Robinson, or Robinson? Yeah. I felt like I didn't like him when he was at UCLA because he kept losing me money on those late night Fox or college football games because he stunk. And I thought it was dead, the franchise. And all of a sudden, here comes Flacco. And I don't know that anybody wants to play a guy that's throwing for 400 yards or 350 yards a game and doing it with confidence.
And you got 31 other GMs saying, how'd we miss this? What's the matter with us?
I would say this. I think that the Colts wouldn't be in that list. Colts got their backup, and he's probably the right guy.
But they could have signed him instead of could have signed him and cut Ellinger. Like they could have had Flacco be. I don't know what Flacco needed.
Yeah.
Maybe Flacco needed the opportunity to play.
Maybe they've got guys like that. Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's went for like 200 in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, damn.
Yeah. That helps.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Flacco, that'd be the first thing. Okay, let me look over here. You got Amari Cooper. Now, Alec Pierce, Kent says he can't cut, so we're not doing that shit. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a perfect marriage.
Yeah.
And you got to give him all the credit in the world. Not only him, but the GM and everybody else for figuring this. That's pretty good.
Yep.
That's
really good.
That's earning your money.
It'll be interesting to see if the Colts win the division. If they win this Saturday and Jacksonville loses Sunday, they'll host the Browns in that first round.
Can you like, just as a team, like, I know Flacco and we're talking about him, everybody's talking about him, but it wouldn't be the worst thing to play against the team. Power outage.
At the Sterling house.
Yeah.
We don't worry about those things.
Comes and goes. It wouldn't be like, who are you playing against? Well, we got Mahomes in the first round. Well, who you got? Well, we got Josh Allen in the first round. Well, who you got? Well, we got Flacco.
Yeah.
Oh, sign me up.
Yeah, right.
Except the reality might be different, but
especially against those corners.
Yeah.
Like Juju Brents is playing pretty well, but Jalen Jones, 7th round rookie. You got Nick Cross, who's basically a rookie. You got a linebacker really playing safety. You got a mess in that secondary. The Joe Flacco is going to kind of,
Brents is good.
Yeah.
Brents is.
You know what he does though? He sticks his nose in, right? He wants to hit people. I don't like him hitting people. Don't hit people. Go cover people. Just like Anthony Richardson. Don't go crazy with RPOs and run into that linebacker. Don't do it. I need Juju Brents to cover. I don't need Juju Brents to stop a running back.
What are you supposed to do?
What Deion Sanders did.
Right.
Goodbye. It's easy.
They ain't paying me to hit these big motherfuckers. No.
Darrelle Revis, what did he do? Yeah. He didn't spend his career stopping running backs.
I think Brent's. I wanted to talk to you about him. I forgot. I thought what I watched. I don't watch every play on the 22 or whatever. I watch the game,
right,
and then try to maybe watch it another time fast. But I thought he was terrific. And you know what I thought
really
about him?
Good.
Yeah, I think he's unafraid, and maybe that could be a bad thing.
He's really aggressive. He loves football. That's the one commonality. I think that's what Ballard looks for, is behaviorally a love of football. A guy who's going to be, you can't all be first in and last out, but he wants that kind of guy who's going to study tape, guy who enjoys the meetings, enjoys developing, enjoys playing. I think that those guys, that entire room's filled with guys like that.
Yeah, but then why do they keep fucking up? There's been a lot of fuck-ups on the Colts this year. There have been a lot, whether it's Isaiah Rodgers Jr., whether it's Stewart, these two guys getting suspended.
And there's that.
I mean, there's been a bunch.
And you've had the 2 PEDs. You had Al-Qadim Muhammad, and before that, Grover.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying. You got. So maybe there are two. This is an interesting conversation. There are two different personalities. There's a team personality where what you're talking about, where you just love football. And then there's the survival personality that comes into play off the field. And sometimes the choir boy isn't necessary. Choir boy off the field is not necessarily the choir boy in terms of being coachable on the field.
Right.
Or in the Coach Knight always used to say, Coach, why don't you look? I've told you this probably a million times. He would talk to us and he would look over your head. He never looked you in the eye unless he was dead pissed at you. And when he was giving a scouting report or something, teaching, and I go, Coach, why don't you ever look us in the eye? He goes, you're the only guy that's ever asked me that. I go, well, probably everybody. It's like my 10th year being with him, so I got comfortable. He goes, you know why? Because I've learned that the guy looking at you intently probably ain't listening to you, and the guy that pisses you off and you think he's half asleep probably is listening to you more intently. And I don't want to get fooled by nobody. I won't get fooled by him. I'm going to get my message, and then their actions will dictate whether or not they were listening. not my perception.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd never thought of that. I never thought of that. But he's like, you get preconceived notions, or you're in the middle of a thought and you see some guy that you think isn't paying attention.
Yeah.
And it takes you away from your thought or your ability to teach. But he goes, I learned very early that guy might be paying attention more than the guy that's sitting there going.
And me being a dumbass, I look for that like in timeouts or when coaches are talking. And guys they're just staring at the floor. There are very few guys these days who will make eye contact, but it really doesn't make any difference, does it? I mean, eye contact is just theatrical.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes the head on the floor is, but sometimes a guy's tired.
Yeah.
Or sometimes a guy is listening, but he's also knows what he needs to do to get, it's fascinating. Like, anyway, but when I look at the Colts, I see guys on the field that seem to really pay attention. Like off the field, there's been too much stupid stuff, but these guys seem to really pay attention.
And what I see this year that's a little bit different from previous years is there's some joy to these guys
you keep
for
saying
each
that.
other.
Yeah.
Like Quentin Nelson was really enthusiastic on the field with Gardner Minshew this past weekend against the Raiders. It was really interesting to watch. I don't know what the cameras catch of all of this stuff because we're watching. But I saw it early in the season. Ryan Kelly, who's usually pretty stoic on the field. I mean, he's out there to snap the ball and hit people. Really happy for like Jonathan Taylor or Zach Moss or somebody in a way that like caught me off guard. People are really, really happy for Zaire Franklin and EJ Speed. It's like they're lifting each other, which is weird for professional athletes because it doesn't always happen.
No, good teams it does.
Yeah, right.
Good teams, man.
Right.
Good, young
it's
guys.
It's been a while
teams.
since we've had one, I guess.
Yeah, I would say the last year was the opposite. I'd say probably, and this is what makes me all of a sudden think Steichen maybe has something here, is that I felt like everybody went their own separate ways. I felt like once it went south, it wasn't coming back.
Right.
And but you know what? That's sports too. Hey, I do want to get into the Pacers. Pacers last night, they beat the crap. I don't beat the crap. They beat them pretty good, the Bucks. Like, is there ever a time where you say, because the Pacers have gone through some shit, right? And they don't guard.
Right.
Is there ever a time with this particular Pacers team that you say, oh man, they've really turned a corner here. This is a legitimate.
They've won 4 in a row, and they've beaten the Bucks 3 out of 4 times, right?
Yeah.
They just don't want. If they got something to play for a little bit, I think they're really fun to watch. Matherin last night, like 25 and 13. Where'd the 13 come from?
I don't know.
They just carry him right to him?
Yeah, they just. There's a bit of immaturity.
Yeah, he's a really young guy.
No, not him. The whole team. And that's good and bad. There's an immature enthusiasm, but then sometimes they don't show.
Yeah.
And when they don't show, that's when the other team scores 150.
They're all a little bit like Lance Stevenson.
Yeah.
Either they're balling and having a great time, or they're completely checked out and they're not in it.
Did you have any problem with Halliburton kind of staring down Wally Szczerbiak?
I love it.
I did too.
I love it.
Why not?
Who is Wally Szczerbiak to call a guy out? And I liked what Szczerbiak did. He apologized. He reached out to Halliburton's dad. What do you think of Halliburton's dad? Like, I'm not a big guy, over-enthusiastic parent guy, but I like.
Somebody was calling.
Somebody called. God bless it.
Leaving a voicemail.
Stop that for the love of God. All right, we're back.
I'm not parent guy. Like, I think John Morant's dad has turned out to be a buffoon, a clown.
Oh, yeah, no question about that.
And that's the danger, because I've said this forever. Dads, brothers, media members are dying because the NBA has a coolness factor about it with rappers and music industry, and it's almost like the club and all that adult men are dying to be included in that. And I think in Morant's case, that was the dad. It is the dad. I think that's a big problem, and I hope Halliburton's dad doesn't fall into that trap, because right now I'd agree with our callers or our listeners, he's really enthusiastic about his son, and it seems genuine.
Right.
That's what I would say.
You've known, like, Jared Sullinger's dad.
Yeah.
Big Irv from
Bigger,
up here on the Northeast side. Those guys, they didn't bother you, right?
No.
You like those guys.
Yeah, those guys, they're dads. They're guys that love basketball and love seeing their son. The problem is when you go from dad to friend.
Oh,
that's a problem.
That's bad in life.
That's
Yeah.
that's just not on the court or around the court.
You know, if I hear that, like, my dad's my best friend, or a dad saying my son's my best friend, I got a problem.
Yeah, you gotta. And that, you think about it, the temptation, the money, and maybe the dad's single too. Because I'll tell you this about John Morant. I'll never forget this. First guy that I knew ever talking about John Morant was Seth Greenberg. And Seth said this is one of the great moms, dads, families, brothers. Unbelievable. He said
he's just a poor judge of human beings.
No, this was what they were. Going back at Murray State.
And then they went haywire?
Yes, and then all of a sudden, he's like, Dan, this is like way back. This is when ESPN first sent a crew to watch John Morant.
Yeah.
And he was like that, and then all of a sudden, you get all this, and the mom's calling the kid to come over with the crew so they can bully some, what's the name of the shoe place? Foot Locker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the kid's beating up it's stupid. And dads can never, you always got to be a dad. Everybody needs to be led. I did that with my son last night when he was talking about the greatness of Harbaugh and how all of his haters aren't doing as well as him. And I said, well, I would argue that if you're a hater and you're living your life with integrity and doing your job with honor, you're having a better go of it than Harbaugh. And, anyway.
Well, Andrew's not a win at all costs.
Andrew he's into Michigan now. Well, he always was. He always loved Michigan. He loved his experience in Michigan, so he's very happy for Michigan.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
That is, once he explained that, I'm like, yeah, okay, but don't sling a cheating clown as somebody doing great. You know what I mean?
And he is.
He's doing great.
Harbaugh has always been a cheating clown.
Yeah.
In life, in his profession, I can't take it. There's nobody I root for with more intensity nor loathing than Jim Harbaugh.
Root against.
I root against him hard.
I thought you were going to say nobody, for, meaning the opponent. So you were not happy when Nick Saban decided to run up the middle on 4th in a lifetime.
No. What's he doing? I get it. That's a flawed team. That quarterback's got issues.
Yeah, but the
ball can't throw the ball accurately.
Ball gets tipped, and the kid still makes an unbelievable. You got to give. I tell you what I learned last night.
Yeah,
dudes are making play even down the stretch and I fell asleep and watched it this morning. Even down the stretch in that Texas game, guy, this is not normal behavior. Guy goes up to make a play. Your normal reaction is to put a hand down when you're falling on your back.
Yeah.
These dudes just go as high as they can, catch the ball, fall right on their backs, and just get back up. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
We're dudes. I mean, whatever you want to say about college football, and you're right, you shouldn't have free agency with 2 games left in the season, coaches flying in to recruit players off campuses when they got 2 games to go. Okay, it's all bad. But last night was pretty fun to watch the football. Unless you hated Harbaugh.
But man, it was so close. It was right there. The overtime
4th down. All you got to do is
ridiculous.
Stop.
Good heavens. Saban's got to go. His time has passed. Make a decision. Make the right call, Bama.
What's the right call?
Gone.
Who's in?
Whew. Gene Stallings.
Again.
Bring him back.
He won one. They're going with the Junction Boys or whatever. We go back to Are we glad Signetti is getting all these guys? Are we enthused?
Hey, you know what? I'm going to have a hell of a time being an IU football fan until the end of August. Then all bets are off. But for right now, Google me. Or I win, Google me. It's the best thing I've ever heard an Indiana coach say ever.
I agree with that.
It's awesome.
I agree. I do agree with that. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, because we are Indiana football, we've got Washington and Michigan coming to the Rock Memorial Stadium next year. How about 2 Big Ten teams in the national championship game?
That's pretty awesome.
I just like saying that because it seems so stupid. Like Washington, do you count them as they're not a Big Ten team.
Damn
now.
right. It's 2024. Let's go.
That's right. That's what I said. People were arguing with me. I'm like, no. I read the internet. I would follow Twitter. It said 2024. Washington's in the Big Ten.
There it is.
What the hell?
Yeah, we're not waiting for June 30th.
It was just like getting a license in Indiana. You got to wait 1 month and a day to get your license at 16.
Man, you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Kids don't get their licenses.
I can't imagine.
What are they doing?
I don't know.
I've got a nephew. I think he's 20, 21 years old. I don't think he's got a driver's license. I'm like, what are you doing? How do you get places? Oh, mom takes me.
Mom, at 21, 22?
What are you, a crazy person? What are you, a child?
Let me tell you what the greatest thing about getting a license at 16, a month and a day was. Getting in the car, closing the door, turning the music up as loud as you want, and knowing I can go anywhere I want right now.
Yep.
That, ladies and
Total
gentlemen.
freedom.
Would you do this now? So I was 16, August 17th. Can't get your license for a month and a day. I didn't go to high school. I worked at Athlete's Foot for a year because I had a bone disease. My parents worked. So they're working. I had to get to work because I was working at the Athlete's Foot. I bought a car. I bought half a car. So they told me, yeah, go ahead, drive it to work. I didn't have a license. I was 16. So for about 3 weeks.
Really?
And it would probably be like driving from here to, it wasn't close. Like I had to get out of my neighborhood, past my school, which was 2 miles away, past that another mile, take a right on Broadway, go past my high school, another 2-3 miles down the road. It's probably 10 miles.
Yeah.
8 to 10. With no license, which means no insurance. My dad's like, nah, you're fine. That's a tough one.
Back in the 80s, you could do that crap.
Yeah. It was actually 79, I think.
Dad let me drive when I was a 5th grader when we lived in Michigan. And there was this long stretch of road, didn't have to turn. He's like, yeah, let's switch. You can drive. And so I'm driving, but I'd never sat in the driver's seat. So I drove to the perspective of the passenger. And Dad kept like, ugh! Every time we passed a mailbox. I was like, jeez, God! I was like,
He's
what's
like
the matter with you?
Right? He's got PTSD. They're shooting at us with his mailbox. Yeah, I think I let Andrew do the same thing until I realized there was a ditch. I'm like, oh crap, it was a back road in Bowling Green. He was like, I don't know, 5th grade, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead, come on. And I'm like, oh shit, stop the car right now. I realized there's a ditch along the whole side. I don't mind you going on somebody's grass, but I don't need to be in a ditch. Like shit.
I took Ryan to a parking lot without like the parking things, the chucks. It's like, yeah, you do what you want. Just don't get off the pavement. He was a good driver. Either you can drive or you can't. Either you're good with that kind of high stress thing, or some people lose their minds. I love driving from jump.
Love it. Loved it. Couldn't wait to do it.
Still enjoy it.
I don't understand. Like when I was driving, when I didn't have a license, all I did was look, like who's coming this way. I wanted everybody to see me driving. And then I realized, wait a second, everybody I know is in school. Like old ladies are driving by and I'm like, hey, 15 or whatever, 16 in less than a month and a day. But I was telling my mom that the other day. She goes, you're good. Like, okay. All right.
There you go.
Did we not cover anything that we need to?
I think we hit it all.
All right.
Tonight, we'll see what happens with the Boilermakers.
Well, they got Maryland,
or if you can,
just okay.
Yeah.
I think Maryland's like 9-5 or 9-4, just okay.
And it's still early in the Big Ten season, so we don't expect Purdue to fall off a cliff yet. And we've heard of Maryland, so that's another thing.
What does that mean? We've heard of Maryland.
Fairleigh Dickinson, St. Peter's,
they play against good teams or teams we've heard of.
Yeah, when they play against teams we've heard of, they win. When it's like 16 seeds that we haven't ever heard of, you've heard of them.
No, I don't hear them. The only reason.
How about one thing, and this is so away from the interest level of people watching. Joey Meyer passed away.
Yeah. What a nice man. You knew him
really
well.
Nice man.
Yeah, you knew him well, right?
And Ray would come into like Larry's office, who was the SID at DePaul, and watch IU games. He'd sit with Coach Ray Meyer and listen to him talk about why Damon Bailey was good at this and that. It was awesome. Purdue was like a little family playing
DePaul.
sort of big,
DePaul.
playing big time basketball, and you felt like you were a part of it. It was just very cool.
When I first started out on the road, Joey Meyer, I would sit with him all the time. He and crazy Kevin O'Neill, and that was a different group. Like
Joey and Kevin may have less in common
Yes.
as human beings.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd sit there and David Kaplan, I think he was recruiting then, I can't remember, but we would sit there, and I remember trying to recruit Juwan Howard up at Loyola in that old gym they had that had a track running around it.
Yeah.
You
Hamels
came
Hall.
actually one day. You and Paulie Balls, you came to watch that same weekend, I think. I do.
I came to watch Rashad Griffith and Thomas Hamilton playing an event there. And Thomas Hamilton showed up like midway through the second
Was
quarter.
I with you?
It might have been.
I thought that was at UIC or the amphitheater.
Was it?
I don't know, but I remember that. I remember
Yeah.
going, and I don't know who we would have been recruiting, but yeah, Westinghouse, King.
Yeah, both went to
yeah.
King for the great Sonny Cox.
Yeah, Joey Meyer dying, man. I'll tell you this: Joey Meyer ruined Christmas one time. Though he came in and Juan Gay hit a shot. I'll tell you a story. This is when I told you I punched Coach Knight one time, right?
Yeah.
This was because of that. Juan Gay hits a shot. We're up one. Knight calls timeout, positions guys. I moved Charlie Miller after Knight. Wasn't in the huddle. I'm like, Charlie, what are you doing? Well, apparently he was supposed to be in the position where Juan Gay was when he hit the shot, and we're crushed. I don't realize what I've done. We get in the locker room. I'm just standing there. I know it's going to be hell. Charlie, what the fuck? Which way? Because Coach Dawkins told me to. And I'm like, oh.
That isn't good.
So we go in. Dad, get your ass in here. We go in the locker room, and he kind of hit me. And I'm like, fuck, all right. So I leave. Then we go home for Christmas for a couple of days, and we come back, and I know it's going to be hell on me. I know this is going to be horrible. I walk in, he's not talking to me. And we're on the court, and I'm standing on the court on the side, coaching a little bit. He comes up, boom.
Ooh.
And I'm like, motherfucker. So practice is over. Knight screaming, yelling, whatever. He goes into the little room off of Assembly Hall, off of the locker room. And now, I don't know what it is now, but it was just this little room where we went at halftime, and there was a couch in there. And Knight, I go in, and I said, hey, I've told you this. I say, Coach, I said, I know you're mad, and that's great. And I let you hit me here after the game. All right, that's whatever. But don't you ever fucking do that again in front of the team. Now, I didn't do anything in front of the team, but this shit's over. And he got up and he came at me, and I drilled him right here. Boom. Pow. Knocked him kind of back onto this red couch that was in there. And I just looked at it, I said, Coach, I was about ready to cry. I mean, I would have killed him if, and I'm not very tough, but rage, it's like, that song Coward of the County where you finally let go, and I was like, motherfucker. And I left. I went and got the tape from the manager, so at least when I get fired or I get charged with assault, right? Never bothered me again.
Is that right?
Never bothered. I mean, he yelled and screamed, but never was. It was like, I remember in practice. Imagine in practice, boom, and he walked away, and I remember thinking, oh, I should just jump his ass right. And I'm like, you can't do that. Just wait. So I couldn't wait till practice was over. I went in the room, and he stood up. And I don't know what he was going to do, but I wasn't waiting. And right there, pow, left hand, pow.
Knocked him back on the couch.
Knocked it back like. And I'm like, oh, this. I never told anybody. Like, I didn't tell my wife.
Yeah.
I told nobody because I just assumed that I was going to be fired. I don't know what I was just. I remember going home. Sitting down, going in the basement, which I really didn't have a finished basement, grabbing 3 beers, and I just sat there with my phone thinking, I'm getting fired or I'm just, right? I mean, Jackie was like, what's wrong? Practice, coaches out. She knew she knew the first story. She didn't know, and
that was the last year, right? Wasn't that the last year?
Yeah, I think so.
You guys played DePaul?
Yeah, I think so. So, yeah.
Yikes.
How about that? Never told that story. Never. I mean, never. I think I first told this story, and I wanted to, I knew it would get back to Coach Knight. So I told it one time before he got dementia when he was working at ESPN. I told it to a friend of his, and because I knew the guy would tell Knight.
Yeah.
And I never heard boo from Knight. And I saw the guy later. I go, I know you told Coach Knight. He goes, yeah. He goes, how'd you know? I go, guess what? I told you the story, but I never told anybody because I didn't need that shit. And so I think I told you this before. When Knight is going to get fired the first time, when Brandt saved him,
yeah,
at the press conference, somebody asked at the end of the press conference, "Is there a video of Dan Dockich and Bob Knight fighting?"
Really?
Yes. And I'm like, oh shit. 2 seconds later, like 2 seconds after the press conference is over, my phone, we got a landline, ringing off the hook. Hey, this is so-and-so from ABC News. Hey, this is so-and-so from, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I told Artie Papella, my assistant, I said, hey man, I don't even know if we can recruit tomorrow, but we're getting out of town. We're going we drove to Indy and had lunch
Really?
or something. Yeah, I'm like, I told my secretary, just tell everybody that calls, let me know who's calling and tell everybody I'm out of town. That's the other reason I didn't tell anybody forever, because I didn't, when Knight was going through all that shit, I didn't want to be brought into any of it. And when they did that 30 for 30,
yeah,
that's why I told them I'm not involved. They didn't know. I never told them why. I just said, you will not get me on camera. But yes.
That was a Stones move. Like, you're an employee of the place. They're doing a 30 for 30 on a guy that you knew better than anybody else, and you won't talk.
I told him no. Head of ESPN, not Patero, but the head guy, Lee Fittings, like, you got to get on. I go, no, I'm not doing it. I go, and I told him, I said, look, you guys have done this story a million times. You guys, he's retired. He's done. Leave him alone.
Right.
That was my official.
Right.
But I had slipped up in an interview way back when the Final Four was here and it made national news, and I wasn't, because imagine if I'd have said, yeah, you had a punch in one day, and then it becomes workplace violence and all the bullshit that was coming out with Knight.
Yeah.
Even though it was years later, I'm like, I'm not.
Well, and it's different with you. It's personal with you.
Yeah.
It's your life.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't some 30 for 30 bullshit thing to you.
Right. And in fact, I didn't even tell my brother. But I asked my brother, I go, I'm not doing any of this 30 for 30. He goes, what do you got to hide? I go, enough. I got enough. You know what I mean? He goes, well, if you don't ever want to worry about it, don't do it. And they must call me, the head guy called me. The guy who ran it, I forget his name. He's the CNN guy. He's ripped me on Twitter. I don't give a fuck what you say, man. No way. No chance. And ESPN was pissed. Legitimately pissed.
Yeah.
Because here I am. And they
right. I would be too.
Right.
I mean, yeah, we're writing you checks. I mean, come on.
I know.
Right. But you've got to respect that. And if they knew you at all, you know that there's a good reason.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have to probe even to get it. You just know there's a good reason, and let's move on.
I will tell you this. Lee Fitting, that's why, he just left ESPN. That's why I always say he's the best guy in management that I met there, because he kind of said that same thing. He goes, you must have your reasons. I go, Lee, I have my reasons. It was a lifetime ago. Just trust me. No.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And good for him.
Can you imagine punching Bob? Can you imagine punching your boss?
No.
Can you imagine you hitting an employee? He didn't just go like that.
Yeah.
I just sat there and went, and so guys that played there, like AJ Guyton said one time on Twitter, well, you let somebody hit you. I go, yeah, you're right, I did. But they didn't know the backstory, and I wasn't never saying it.
You guys had a relationship that evolved over the years from one into another.
Yeah.
And he may have gotten mixed up as to exactly who you were at the age of 35 and how different that was from you at the age of 18.
Yeah, he wouldn't have, when I didn't work for it, he wouldn't have, maybe he'd have done that to me as a player. I don't know. But.
We fired the ball off your head like 6
times.
times,
As a freshman,
right?
twice, yeah. Yeah, I turned with a fist. Oh, left hand. He spun me around. I don't know what he's going to do.
Right.
And he backed off, and that's what I wanted to see, Dockage. That's what we need. I'm like, okay. So then he called me out on the recording. He goes, were you going to hit me? I go, Coach, I was going to hit you right in the face. I go, I didn't know what the hell you were going to do. You just hit me in the face with a freaking ball.
Yeah.
He goes, that's what we need. You go tell Whitman and Kitchell that you're the only one on this team with balls. I'm like, okay. Kitchell's like, what did he say? I go, he told me to tell you you're a pussy. I just read a book. Anyway.
All right.
There you go. Sorry.
Colts win.
Yeah, they're going to win. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, they're going to win. I think this team is going to win. I think they're going to win by at least a touchdown, maybe double digits.
This is the way, like Tuesday, it's always dark for me. Then Wednesday, Thursday, I start to see the light, and by Saturday, I'll be fully convinced that the Colts are going to win this game.
Well, if you don't think the Colts are going to win, then I don't know anybody that thinks the Colts are going to win, because you're pretty positive on the Colts.
I am. I root for them, which is kind of embarrassing. You're not supposed to, but I don't care.
Who makes that rule? Holder?
Yeah.
Guys like Holder from 50, 100 years ago. No cheering in the press box. Shut up.
I agree.
The only time
Although Holder I like. Well,
I know you do. And he's probably a good guy. I'm not saying.
And I like Chap.
Yeah, I like
Chap's
Chap.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I agree. But I guess I shouldn't even say names. Like, what the media just makes these rules from what?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why.
You telling
me? I know
it's
like the opposing media does not like to hear people whooping it up.
Yeah.
That's just. But I don't care. I sit there with a guy, Brendan King.
I love Brendan King.
We sit there and nobody's really near us. I'm like, God, I get emotional, but nobody's around us. So
why does Brendan King have a
through 107.5 The Fan?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I remember I gave mine to, I went one time, thought this is boring. I want to be out there. And I gave my pass or my credential. I told him, let Knezevich have it. And I think he went for a little bit, and then he's like, that's boring.
Yeah.
Or maybe he still goes, I don't know.
The food, man. The food.
Better?
They have raised the level.
Really?
Yeah, they had prime rib on Sunday. It was awesome. Really, really good.
Then you look at all those guys, they got stains all over.
With their ties, wiping their mouths with their ties. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for donating money. Appreciate you.
Very nice. And we'll talk.
We going to talk later this week or not?
Yeah, let's go. We can do it.
All right. I got nothing to do.
All right.
See you.